All right, everybody. Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff. Here we go, M1. Now, this is the understanding that I've come to, okay, having deep dive down into some deep rabbit holes. 2005, there was a video documentary that was released about a man who was the prince, or at that point, I guess, the king, the living heir of a cave that had quadrillions of dollars worth of assets in it. So people like to say that the dragon families don't exist. They totally exist, okay? They're mostly Indonesian, Asian, from what I understand. And so this is what I believe. Okay, if you go to the Bible, there are 35 accounts or spaces for that Yahweh is discussed. If you also look at the account of what Yahweh was described as in the Bible, you would realize that it was a dragon. Okay, it had fire, it had red ambers falling from its nostrils. I mean, come on, people. Anyone that is worshiping Yahweh is worshiping a dragon, a reptilian dragon. And I think there were many of them that held the world hostage. The first time that I ever bumped up against this was over 32 years ago, and I had a native teacher, medicine woman, Lakota Sioux, who I studied with and did an apprenticeship with. And she one time discussed at length with me about the dragon energy and how it has lived on. And there are certain animals that have taken this type of energy forms on. But we can go back in history, Mud Fossils University, Roger, he shows you that these things were very well alive. We have them in myth and mythology. And I'll tell you what, people can say, oh, it's myth, these stories that Native Americans tell or these people tell. No, it's called oral history, okay? Oral history. It just, you've been indoctrinated into, bullshit, caca, poo-poo, crapola belief system, okay? You've been sold a turd with a bow on it, okay? I didn't realize how sick I would feel to my stomach presenting this kind of information. So anyway, I've got to get through my own caca poo-poo bullshit. All right. So this is what I believe. I believe that Yahweh's dragons that controlled certain parts of the world hoarded assets. Now, you can even look in the Bible, and what does Yahweh want? Well, Yahweh wants 235 cattle, 400 sheep, 23 humans, these, a day. Okay, so there was a priesthood that took care of the dragons around the world. They also wanted gold every day. They wanted gems. They wanted whatever the people could give them. Otherwise, they probably would destroy your continent. Believe it's a very real thing. I also believe that there were brave people that went in and ultimately killed the dragons. And then the hidden assets were hidden for years and years and years by these people. We could call them the dragon family lines because they killed a dragon and then they never talked about all of the assets in the cave, and the caves were hidden. And that this oral history was passed down. And these people looked like people that were poverty and farmers in these countries like Indonesia and Asia, until the time they felt was right to reveal these assets. And I don't know if the guy was a green dragon. I can't remember. Anyway, so in the 1990s, this man came forward trying to find the right people to bring about the release of all of these assets in this cave. Well, they ended up doing a documentary in 2013 about it. So he found the right people that weren't going to steal the assets. It was all quietly done. They had assayers that came in. It was all secret. I mean, this guy had like a pearl that weighed like, 150 pounds. Gold. I mean, like you couldn't even just wrap your head around it. Well, by the time that it was all assayed, by 2023, I guess, it was worth 4 quadrillion US dollar. Okay. So what they did was they sold it all off. They got the money. They went to try to open bank accounts. It was very difficult to get these bank accounts opened. So they decided to hold the money. In an area. So then what they wanted to do, this man wanted to use the 4 quadrillion dollars to release the world out of poverty. He wanted to give every person that was 18 years or older $1,200 USD monthly equivalent for their entire life. Can you imagine what $1,200 a month would be like to a country of people who make $1 a day if they're lucky? I mean, they would be gazillionaires and there would be no fighting. If everybody had enough, there's no fighting. There's nothing that's necessary. Okay? So they worked their butts off. They produced what was called the M1 voucher. Okay? The M1 voucher, the money was released to be re-released, that if you could get a bank account open, didn't matter where in the world, that you could have this money put into your bank account every month starting, I think, let me look at my document. Looks like August 17th, 2015, it was released for the public. Okay? So, M1 voucher. I went through the whole process because I love legal processes that are unusual and abnormal. I started reading through all the information pack. Now they provided a legal information pack that you could take to your bank that also included the bank getting a percentage every month of your income that is released to the your bank account. Okay, so banks could have made a lot of money, and so I went and talked to several different banks, showed them, like, look how thick this legal paperwork is. I mean, it's, look at this one, 2 stacks. Okay, and I was like, banks, if you open up bank accounts, I will help bring you gazillions of dollars. And so that people, especially homeless people, I wanted to go down and start helping, especially the elderly, veterans, women with children, so that they could get out of the gutter and into a house, into a place to live. And this is kind of where the earned income credit system kind of started, which hasn't really gone anywhere. Okay. And there's a reason why it hasn't gone anywhere, because of our governments, our banking systems. This is another realization that just because we're having a new bunch of people come in to office doesn't mean shit, okay? Doesn't mean shit. And most of these people don't know any of this stuff, okay? So now you have people running more stuff for their own Like Cliff High was talking about how, the elite ruling that's going to come into the new president, that these people cannot lose their assets in US dollar. They have billions. They're going to try to resuscitate the US dollar, but the American people are going to say, no, we're not going to do it. We have a constitution that says no taxation. We want a asset-backed currency, and we want real living wages if we're going to work. So even if you would have gotten the $1,200 a month from this Dragon family asset hold, you could still work, okay? This was just on the top and extra. So let's just take a look at some of this stuff just really quick, okay? And I want to bring your attention. This is the guidance for submitting M1 voucher outside of Indonesia. And it was produced August 17th, 2017. And it even talks about right here, explain that this is guidance steps from outside of Indonesia. It says, find right banks in your country from the list of 130 provided below. Ask to speak with bank manager or higher. Explain your purpose, which is to register, open a new account, claim your basic income through the M1 voucher, master bond, acceptance certification, which is your legal letter, power of attorney. You are the legal beneficiary. Okay. Explain that their bank has been chosen by the M1 to be one of the participating banks for the coordinating bank, Mandiri Bank of Indonesia. Explain that the fund is ready at the Mandarini Bank and also their own infinite account as stated in the World Bank final audit statement. Hello, World Bank is keeping this from you. Explain that you would like them to be one of the take care of your human obligation in the amount of US 6 million. Point out the bank fee of 1.5 from the basic income of 1,200 US for the rest of your life that the bank will be receiving on top of their other charges. Okay. It's a whole packet on how to go to your bank with your voucher. This is the whole legal, I don't know how many pages are here. Indonesia Public Information Transparency document. It's 24 pages of legal stuff. And it's account number 14 year of 2008, or act number, Republic of Indonesia, Public Information Disclosure Act, ratified at Jakarta at 30th of April 2008, Ministry of Law and Human Rights. It goes through like the whole legal thing, okay? You can't trust these people. None of them. At all. And I'm just really angry that I'm the one that has to do all this stuff. I'm only going to do this one in the BC because the other stuff is way too complicated and the other stuff. Okay? This is the translation only document, right? So you know exactly what it says in the translation when you fill out your M1 voucher. This is a copy of my M1 voucher. And I took out some of the information, but it's all signed. And then this is the original M1 voucher right here. It's the size of it, right? It has my photograph and it has my fingerprint on it, and it has other types of information that I blocked with the pin, and it has all of the stamps and everything else, okay? And so it's real, okay? And it was kept from you, okay? All right. And yeah, it's bullshit, okay? Bullshit. We could have had, okay, mind you, 2015, that this M1 voucher, it says right on it, right here, that this was the release date that I could use it, that anyone could use it. I could have helped millions of people out of poverty. Out of suffering. I mean, come on. You think things have changed? They haven't changed. Show me the money. Next, we're going to talk about the BC, which is even more mind-boggling and intense.